Leander, if I can ask you that, and this I ask you because both you and me, we share the same skin color. I mean, sport is one of the vehicles to protest against this pandemic, which has raged in our world for 300 years now. The discrimination based on color. Have you ever faced it? And if you did, how did you counter it? I mean, what is your take on this whole uproar that we are seeing? Why is it that a 21st century world will still have to face this? Your thoughts on George Floyd and the way the EPL has responded, the International Cricket Council has responded. How are you as a tennis player, a super champion and icon, responding to this challenge?
Firstly, I think that what happened to George Floyd was disgusting. I have seen the video several times, and it's amazing how the responsibility of power is such a important part to recognize. I think that when you watch that video, and I'm sure you've watched it yourself, he kept on saying, "I can't breathe." And for those 7-8 long minutes that was there, and regardless of what his crime so-called was, I feel that there is a certain dignity a human being's right has. I think there is a certain dignity and treatment that we need to give out to another human being. And it's very worrisome to look around the world and to see the discrepancies of whether it is the color of your skin, or the caste difference you come from, or the birthright that you have or don't, where we as humanity are responsible for our keeping our community safe. You know, I mean, what my father and my mother
have faced it?
I faced it subtly. I have faced it a few times, very subtly, and I don't think I have the personality where people can actually come straight to me and do it. But that being said, I think playing a global sport all around the world and traveling since I was 12 years old, I can talk to you about a few incidences that have happened. But obviously, it's happened very subtle.
But how did you deal with it? Because give me the courage. I mean, if somebody is listening to Leander Paes, not everybody has your strength, Leander. How, even if it is subtle, how did a Leander Paes deal with it? How will Boria Majumdar deal with it? How will someone who's listening to you, a young tennis player aged 15 to 20, traveling around the world, deal with it?
Well, I've had some wonderful parents who have taught me about such things. They were professional athletes traveling the world in their global sport as well, of hockey, basketball, and so on and so forth. I feel like the way that my parents, my stepmother Juliana, has taught me about dealing with situations like this has obviously held me in good stead. I have a daughter who's 14 years old, and she wants to be a professional tennis player and an Olympic champion. So the skills that I've learned, I'm trying to share down with her. Now, being a young Indian girl and at the same time playing a sport like tennis, she's going to travel the whole world, and God forbid that she ever faces something like this. I've got to equip her with the skill set of, one, diffusing a situation as fast as she can, diffusing the situation and moving on. Two is to make sure that you're in environments that do not allow these situations that happened with George Floyd to happen. I mean, I've lived in New York in the late 80s, early 90s, and I know how rough it was back then. And now it's a lot safer, but still, I mean, in the back streets of Mumbai or in the back streets of any city in India or in any city in the world, if you're in the wrong place or the wrong time, you're going to get into trouble. I already have a scar on my left chest to prove when I got mugged in New York. But that being said, you've got to learn the skills on how to diffuse situations, learn the skills on how to be in the right place at the right time, and not delve into places that are dangerous, and at the same time to protect yourself. When you look at an internal mental toughness or an internal self-confidence, the way you carry yourself is important. The way you communicate with others is important. The way you teach others to respect you is very important. Not everybody out there is your friend, and it's important to have that distance to teach others on how to respect you.